Hey, today's lesson is another relatively simple model. We're going to introduce a couple of new features that we've not done before. One of them is adding material, and the other, we're going to create a cut using a polygon feature. So our dimensions for this project is the basic shape is going to be rectangular. So we're looking at a 2 by 3 rectangle, 1/2 inch tall, and then we got a couple of other elevations that we need to create some extrusions from, and then a few cuts. So let's go ahead and get started. Make sure that your defaults are in ANSI inch. We want to create a new part. So new part and OK. I want to start with an extruded boss base. I want it to be on the top plane. Alright, I want to use a center rectangle, so I'm going to start on the point of origin. One mouse click, pull it out, place it down that general area. Smart dimension. The width of this is going to be 2 and the length is going to be 3. Alright, so we're fully defined, so we know that everything is good to go. There's no other marks anywhere out on this sketch, so we exit our sketch. It's going to orient around this way, so our magnitude that we want for the thickness is going to be 0.5, and once we are happy with that, we accept it. The next thing that I want to do is I want to create this boss back here. So looking at our dimensions, we have 2 inches on the width, 2 inches on the length and 1/2 inch on the width. So let's start with an extruded boss base. I want to pick this upper face. I'll have to use Control 8 for my shortcut. Regular corner rectangle. I'm going to start in this top right hand vertex. One mouse selection. One mouse selection, pull it out, place it down. So our length was 2 and our width was 0.5. So that is now also fully defined. Rotate it around this way. So I exit the sketch. Our dimension on this was 1.5. We already have 1/2 inch of material out here. So I'm going to take this and I want to give this 1. And I'm very happy with that. So we accept it. Now, as we're looking at this, we have this angled face back here, and I want to make sure I do this next because I only want to draw a singular line instead of an enclosed sketch or any type of chamfer on here to have to worry about. So, extruded cut, I want to be on this face here, so I select it, Control 8, then I come up and grab a line. I'm going to come tickle down here to where this vertex, where these all converge. One mouse click, pull it up, place it down a second. Now, one dimension should fully define this if I have this point and this point coincident to those edges in the vertex. So one click on the vertical edge, one click on the angular line, and a third click, and now I'm able to put in my dimension. So it's 35 degrees. It should automatically default. So I'm going to exit my sketch. My arrow is pointing up, so that means that I'm going to remove that material. But I'm going to rotate it around to where we can see what's going on. So instead of it being blind, I'm going to cut through everything because I know that that face is always going to be gone. So I'm going to say through all, and that gives us a hint of what we got, so I accept it. So we now have a chamfer. This is the other new part that we were talking about. So I want to select an extruded cut. I want to pick this particular face here, Control 8, or yours is normal too. So I want to use a polygon. Now your polygon may have a number of different sides out here. We also want to be on an inscribed circle. If you look at our drawing that is provided, we have an inscribed circle that's touching all these lines tangent. So all of these lines have to be equal, and the way it's oriented is horizontal lines of vertical. So make sure that you put your number of sides in first. It's going to make your life quite a bit easier. So one mouse click, pull it out, and a second mouse click. I'm going to leave mine just askew, exaggerated. And then I'm going to hit my escape key a couple times to where we can kind of see what's going on. Now when we look at our drawing, it is 0.38 IC. So I'm going to come select a smart dimension. I'm going to pick the circle on the inside of this. Now I don't have to put those letters out there, but it's 0.38. So that gives us a size of our square. Also, from the bottom edge, if I pick one of these edges, it's going to give it an angle. So I'm just going to select that reference circle again, pull it over and place it down, and that's 1. And then I'm going to come to this right edge to our circle, pick that, it defaults to the center of the circle, place it down, and that's 0.75. Now I'm going to click out in the modeling space somewhere, hit the escape key a few times. Now what I was trying to get at before is these, I've got it located. You can tell by the reference circle or the construction circle that's in here that the size is there, the location is there, but our orientation is not. This thing can rotate around, so we want to make sure that we fix that. And I want to do it with kind of a shortcut. So I pick the line and I don't move my mouse, but a flyout comes up and it says I can make it horizontal or vertical. Since it's closer to horizontal, I want to go ahead and select horizontal. Click out in the modeling space somewhere, and we are fully defined, so we are good enough to cut our hole in here. So I exit my sketch. The cut is going through, it's blind. I want to give it through all, that way I don't have to worry about it later on if we change the thickness of this thing, so I accept it. So we're working our way towards our drawing. So we've got this pretty well buttoned up. So the next thing I want to do, I think I want to put this boss on this side. So as I look at it, we know that it's 1.13 in length, and it's also 0.63 in width. So let's go ahead and create an extruded boss base. Where do we want to do that? We want to do it on this face. So I want to do it with a simple corner rectangle again. I come pick this vertex. Smart dimension, we said it was 1.13, and the width was 0.63. So we're fully defined. To come down here and make sure that we're fully defined. And the reason why I want to make sure of this is my mouse is kind of giving me a couple fits. The left mouse key is finally getting worn out, and it's probably time to go get one. So I'm going to exit my sketch, rotate this thing around. I need to look at what the height was because I've forgotten what it is. So it's 1.13 tall. I have a ½ inch over here, so I could do the math, but I'm going to let the computer do the math for me, and I'll show you how to do that. So we know that the size the overall height was 1.13, and then we want to use the minus key of 0.5. So when it does the math for us, it tells us it's 5/8 of an inch tall from that top surface, so we go ahead and accept that, and we're happy with that. So the last thing that we're going to need to do is this chamfer right here. So we got a 45 degree 1 1/8. We could do that with the chamfer command, but I want to do it with another cut command. So select Extruded Cut. I want to pick this top surface here, Control 8, rotates around like that. So I want to use a regular line. I want to select this edge, but I don't want to pick the midpoint. So I want to come grab anywhere on the edge, pull it down at this bottom horizontal edge. I don't want it to snap midpoint there either. So I'm going to pick that. And now it's time to do smart dimension. So select a smart dimension that terminates our line command. So one mouse click, bottom horizontal line, pull it out, and it was 45 degrees. Now what we need is the height of this, and it said that it was 1.13 from this edge. So I picked the bottom edge and I picked the end point of our line, not the line, because it's going to give us an angle dimension. So pick this vertex again, one mouse click, pull it out, place it down, and that was 1.13. Alright, so we're fully defined. I'm going to rotate it around to where we can see what's going on. So I exit the sketch. My arrow is pointing the direction that I want to remove the material. If yours is pointing the other direction, all you would have to do is toggle the arrow over here, or you can come to this over on your feature tree and you can select flip side to cut. As long as your arrow is pointing this direction, we're going to be good. I don't want it to be blind, I want it to be through all, so this creates this like cutting surface or cutting plane. We want to go ahead and accept that, and our model is pretty well complete, except we don't have our material, and our material said that it was AISI 1020. What I'm going to do, and this is one of these features where you have to right click mouse on the selection. So I want to come select right click, edit material. Steel is automatically defaulted, and AISI 1020 is a steel. But depending on what application you got, you may want to select one of these other materials out there. You can add your own material. If you have material specs, that's going to come at a later date. So we want to come over here and select AISI 1020, apply and close. Notice the color changed. Our properties will be there, so if we evaluate it, we can do our mass properties, and it'll tell you what all sorts of information about your particular model. Alright, so with that being said, go ahead and save this out in the proper format and submit that in your LMS.